Hi guys, welcome to another day of our session. According to we will be sharing this recording to our group as well. So I'll record this session. So today we are going to talk about Azure governance. Okay, so according to the questions we I got from previously direct questions, I prepared few slides. So I'll go through the slide and I'll show you a live demo how the governance works from the Azure portal. So first of all, we need to see what is the Azure governance. So Azure governance refers to the set of policies, processes, tools used to manage the control resources, security and compliance in the Azure cloud cloud environment. Okay. So basically, if we speak about the policies and process and the tools, in the traditional way, what we doing is we have these local computers in our on premise, and we have these firewalls, and like in some certain timelines, we need to harden these firewalls, like harden these servers, harden keep our servers in the DMZ zone, and we need to do certain hardening techniques. Use certain hardening techniques. For that, we use CIS benchmarks like that. So using those, we need to do a lot of manual work. Okay. So in the Azure, what we do is our all our controls, all our governance will be automated. Okay, automated means I'll show you in the demo how this is happening. So initially, we'll see what is Azure governance. So or in here, the objective is to establish a framework that ensures the consistent application of policies, controls across the Azure subscription and our resources. Okay, so Azure governance is basically establishing a framework that ensures the consistency of application of policies and controls. Okay, so once you deploy an application, or like let's say a virtual machine, it will give you a set of recommendation from the Azure based on Azure compliance standards. Okay, I'll show you what are those standards and what actions we can use, how can we can prepare a custom standard in the end of this video. So in here we can so here we're going to see the key component of Azure governance. The key components are is Azure management groups, Azure subscription, Azure resource group. Of course, most of you have heard of this. Management group means hierarchical structure. Okay, so in organizations, once you migrate all your servers to let's say to the Azure, we separating those environments by the product, by the environment. We separate those environments. Okay, so let's say we have a production environment, we have a non-production, like say staging, dev, like that. We have a dev, like that. We have a separate environments. According to that, you can break out, or else you can break the environments. Okay, so you can do within the management groups. And we have the subscriptions. Okay, all the if you done the AZ900, you may know what also those subscription means. One, the subscription means the Azure will send our bills based on the subscription. Okay, subscription is something like to know your who are you from the Azure side. Okay, it will be a separate ID given to you. They won't call you by your name. The Azure the management support will call you by the subscription ID. Okay, so that is something like that. So resource group. Resource group is something like a folder. Let's say if you work in a Windows computer, you may know what is a folder. So what we going to put in the folder, everything we own, like why we using the folder, we need to separate the resources, like that resource group also, something like that. Okay, so once you do when you do the AZ104, you will get an idea about what about resource group, what are the subscription management groups, a base idea about that you will get in within AZ104. Okay, so if I talk about the points, Azure Management Group, hierarchical structure for organizing subscription and applying policies at a scale. So I'll tell you about this in the later points about how you're going to apply the policies. Allows centralized management of resources across multiple subscription. Isolate environment within Azure, the subscription. Okay, so act as a billing and security boundary. Enables separation of concerns and resource ownership. Azure Resource Groups, containers for organizing and managing related resources, simplifies resource management, deployment, and monitoring. So these are the main key components on Azure Governance. So if we talk about the Azure policies are a set of rules that govern resource deployment and configuration within Azure. Okay, when you same as the traditional method, in here we are talking about the Azure policies. Okay, using the policies only, we are governing our AOL and total environment. When I do the demo, I'll show you how we doing that. So the purpose of it, enforcing compliance requirements, maintain consistency in resource settings, prevent misconfiguration and security risk. This is the main part. If you talk about the misconfiguration, of course, in the traditional way, we are, let's say, I have a server 2012, and there are lot of known vulnerabilities. And when you do when you do a hardening using like a CIS benchmark, you are hardening it, you may miss it, right? Like we all are human beings, and we do human errors are like the highest risky point. Okay, so in there we can miss configuration. Okay, when we do the configuration, we can miss. So in the Azure, what happens is they will give let's say I have a virtual machines. I have migrated my on-premise server to the Azure. Okay, I have a server hosted in Azure environment. What they do is automatically, let's say there are like a default policies based on the default standard. Let's say they have AZ default, Azure default, or Azure benchmark standard. According to it, it will automatically scan the virtual machine and give you a recommendation set. Okay, it will show you in the security blade where what are those recommendations from the Azure side. They will say if it's let's say if you have any patches available, it will show you, okay, this version is old and you need to patch it soon as possible. Like vulnerabilities wise, they using call is behind the picture, scanning tool, and using that they will give you a report. Okay, so like that. This will prevent the misconfiguration. It will give you a recommendation, and you will know, okay, I have not done that, I have to do. You can, I will show you when we're doing the demo how we can see these recommendations. And we will host a simple virtual machine because of the time constraints. We'll host a small virtual machine and show you what are the recommendations and how we're going to mitigate that and the security risk. So if I talk about the role-based access control, RBAC, every company need an RBAC strategy. Okay, RBAC strategy means role-based access control you need to implement in your organization. RBAC strategy, you need to know developer what level of access developer needs, what level of access your own the let's say CEO needs, your users needs, like that. So RBAC strategy will assign the role privileges to each user, each group wise, each application wise. We have service principles, we have a lot of things in there. We can in the within the identity and access management, you can directly configure everything. Okay, if you have a RBAC strategy in-house in place, you can configure everything within the Azure portal. So in here, key features are assign roles to users groups, application, I will show you in the demo, provides granular permission based on predefined or custom roles. Okay, this is basically, we have this service principles, enables least privilege access. Of course, least privilege is the critical one. Okay, we can't give more than they need. That is the theory. That means if user requires only to read access for an database, we can't give them more than that. Okay, that is the concept of this. Reducing the risk of unauthorized access. Okay, when we call about the security, we have the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Integrity should be maintained. Okay, no such modifications without unauthorized access. Okay, Azure blueprints. Of course, you know about the blueprints. Blueprints is something, once you've done a configuration, you can create a blueprint according to it, and you can apply the same blueprint to another resource. Okay, so that's what the blueprint is. In here, Azure blueprints also something like that. Okay, so benefits of it: accelerate the creation of compliant and consistent environment. Okay, let's say we have a production environment, or all the standards are set. Or let's say we have control saying minimum 3 numbers of subscription owners should be there. Like this environment should be private, like that. Lot of recommendations we have applied. and we have a proper compliant environment. So we are taking a blueprint out of it. Another, when we creating another environment, we can put the same use the same blueprint in there. Okay, that is what blueprint is. Ensures governance and compliance requirements are met. The main point is, let's say I have achieved SOC 2, okay, SOC 2 compliance to my organization. When we running an application, where when we selling our application to the customers which are hosted in any cloud vendor, we need to certify SOC 2. That's US, I believe. Yeah. So we need to get certified, and when we certify it, most we in the Azure side, they will give us we can choose the standard. Okay, from the Azure side, we can choose the SOC 2 standard, and they will give us the recommendations. Okay, according to the control set, these are the ones you are missing. Okay, before you're going for the audit, you can prepare your environment for the SOC 2 like that. The bigger picture. So ensures the governance and compliance requirements met. Of course, when they're giving it, you can before going to the audit, you can fix the loopholes, and you can properly fix your environment for the readiness assessment. Facilitates fast and more reliable resource deployments. Okay, this is actually where, as I told you, we are getting a blueprint and putting it in another place. So that will uh, reduce the time wasting in the again if you want to implement it again, it will reduce the timelines. Okay. Azure Secure Center, this is a main part. Okay, previously it was separately available. If you go to the Azure portal, you can just type in the navigator Azure Secure Center. You can separately, there's a portal called Azure Secure Center. Now it's came under the Defender for Cloud. Okay, now it's under the Defender for Cloud. So this is a unified security management and advanced threat protection service. Key features are provide secure recommendation and threat intelligence. Okay, so this is the one who gives you the secure recommendation from the security advisor. Monitors resources configuration and detects vulnerabilities. Of course, behind the picture, they are using Qualys. Okay, Qualys assessment tool, they are using it, and they will give you a vulnerabilities. Let's say you are using a Azure Kubernetes or like a SQL database. Uh, every week, or you can set it up. So they will give you an assessment report. Okay, they will the calls will be run behind the picture, and you will get a database vulnerability report. According to it, you can send it to the your developers or like whoever owner the storage owner. You can ask him to reduce the vulnerabilities, because you can keep a vulnerability open and uh, to increase the risk. Yeah. So helps and identify and respond to the security incident. Okay, of course, I will show you in the demo. This will create, you can create, if you like Azure Security Center, you can integrate with the SIEM, the Sentinel. We have the Sentinel as SIEM in the Azure. You can integrate that with the continual export. Whatever recommendations comes, let's say a high risk item, if it's detect a high risk item as a vulnerability, let's say it will say in your if you enable the recommendations from the management group level or subscription level, it will detect all the SQL DB. Let's say SQL DB is it's detected and it's scanning the SQL DB, and it will give you a vulnerable list. Okay, vulnerable list. These are the vulnerabilities found in your SQL DB. Okay, so once it detected, if there are any high vulnerabilities identified, okay, I'm talking about the non-vulnerabilities, not the 0-day ones. Non-vulnerability found, it will report to you. Like I will show you in the when we do the demo how the emails will be triggered. So in there, the automatic email will be generated and sent to you, informing there is a high risk vulnerability found. Again, if you integrate that into the SIEM, your SOC team, Security Operations Center team, will be notified as there's a high risk vulnerability found. So according to that, you can create a security incident according to the priority, and you can take the actions. Okay, that's what this says. Azure Cost Management Plus Billing. Azure Cost Management Plus Billing helps manage and optimize the Azure cost. Okay, so this is key features are tracks resources usage and cost allocations. Service wise, you can see subscription wise what are the cost involvements, and how you can set like a budget. Of course, Let's say according to your company, you have $1,000 budget. You can set the budget. If it increase, you can get increase more than expected. You can get an email attack as well. Provides cost, insight, forecast, and budgeting capabilities. Okay, these also their budgeting capabilities. As I told you, if your company give you $1,000, you can set a budgeting alert. Okay, so you can see a forecast, you can see get a report like that. Enables cost optimization through resources right side sizing and spending control. Again, you can do a cost optimization as well. Of course, like if you do AZ104, like AZ900, like there are a lot of certification, and but you can learn. There are something called we normally use in the industry reserved VMs, virtual machines, and there are a lot of things to cut your cost from the Azure side. It's really user friendly. You can easily just read an article and you can learn. There are something called, I'll give you some tips. One thing is you can use the reserved VMs. Another thing is we have this orphan resources. There's a query, take your query. I will share you within the group. You can run this and you can get a idea what are the orphan resources in my subscription. Okay, orphan resource means, well, let's say you have virtual machines. You are just deleting a virtual machine just like that, and there could be public IPs like a virtual OS disk like leftovers. So most of the time there are resources which incurs cost. So you could it's not like a physical thing. You can just look at a drawer and see, okay, these are leftovers. This is we are talking about the virtualization. Okay, you can't just go and see. So in there are queries you can run. We call it open resources, open resource query. If you run it, if you can customize the query and you can know what are these open resources, and you can remove those. Okay, so that will also do a cost reduction. Okay, Azure Monitor. Okay, so the Azure Monitor, this will be come up from the 2024. This is a mandatory part because earlier log analytics agent was there. Azure Monitor is the centralized monitoring service or Azure resource. Collect and analyzes telemetry data from various sources, provides real-time monitoring, alerts, diagnostics, enable performance, optimization, and troubleshooting. Basically, as what Azure Monitor is doing, it will analyze your like resources and give you a like a analyze, and it will give you a performance based data, like let's say uh, your disk sizes, your virtual machine CPUs, everything you can see from the Azure Monitor. Okay, earlier days like we had log analytics agents to collect data. Now Azure Monitor is supporting from 2024. Like that, there are a lot of things goes with the Azure Monitor. So keep on mind. Azure Monitor is something you use it to monitor your resources. That's about it about the Azure Governance. I'll quickly show you the Azure portal. Okay, so we have connected to our Azure portal, and first thing I wanted to show is let's see, we'll host a basic VM virtual machine. Okay, I have hosted one. Yeah, so I hope you can see my screen. So if you can see, I have hosted only one virtual machines in here. So this is our Defender for Cloud. Earlier, you can separately there was like a security center. Now they have bought it under the Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Okay, the security posture. So if you see, there's a security score. Okay, where our posture management stands at. That was a question someone asked from me. So there where our environment stands at Azure side is under 50%. Okay, I have achieved the security score up to 50%. So what are these recommendations? If you go to the recommendation, they will give you a, okay, you can see a set of recommendations. Early days, as I told you, the traditional method is we are using a CISO like a benchmark standards, and let's say you have a standard you have implemented using let's say CSA star or something. You can implement those. Not, that is not happening in the from the Azure side. Azure side, how it is, they have either Azure default or they will give you a Azure benchmark standard recommendation. Or else you can, of course, you can come up configure on your standard. According to it, it will give you a set of recommendation. Okay. So in here, you can see apply system standard here. You can see everything you will get to know. So in here, so you can see unhealthy resources, how much is impacted. It will give you a score as well. This is the Azure Secure Center recommendation. Basically, what happens is it will scan your virtual machine. Since I'm here I have deployed a virtual machine. It will scan my virtual machine. It will give me a recommendation how I can protect my virtual machine from the attacks. Okay. So if you go to the regulatory compliance, managed compliance standard, can see, yeah, in here you can see it is automatically enable the AC default. Okay, basically we have this Azure security benchmark. Okay, that is based on CIS and NIST combination of that standards. Okay, based on that they have created something called Azure security benchmark. So okay, most of I have done the research as well. Most of the time, like the recommendations are same. AC default and the Azure security benchmark, both the recommendations are same mostly. So in here you can add more standards as well if you need, like SOC 2, whatever. Like there are a lot of standards according. Let's say you're bringing FedRAMP. If you can bring the FedRAMP, it will give separately. It will give you a set of recommendations according to the FedRAMP. Okay, so before your audit comes in, you can implement those controls into your environment and keep. So that will help for your readiness assessment. That means before your audit starts, before you bringing up to your compliance standards or like a gap analysis or whatever, it will help you to prepare for that. Prepare your environment. Okay. So that is about it. So if you can see Microsoft Cloud Security Benchmark, okay, these are the items. The gray ones means you can't manually these are like not automated. These are process and procedures. The gray ones. Okay. So in here you can see aligned organization roles, responsibilities, basically the RBAC strategy. And you have DevOps now. They have brought the DevOps into the picture. Incident response, everything is there. They basically give you total recommendations from here. Okay. Next one, I want to talk about the how we can apply this the visual the our policy. Okay, so basically, I would recommend go from the management group level. Okay, because if you you may don't know what are the like subscription you will add in the future to this same tenant. Okay, tenant means our parent. Under the parent, how many subscription you're going to add, how many management groups you're going to add. Oh, sorry, how many resource groups you're going to add. So I would recommend you can add your policy from this layer. So what happens is if you bring up a SOC 2, let's say no, let's say Azure Security Benchmark you are using, and if you want to scan all your environments, let's say in here there are separate another environment. Let's say you have production. Okay, I'm run out of time. It's okay. So you can add more environments, and once you apply your policy from here, it will automatically scan under all the under it all the subscription. Okay, all the subscription under it, it will automatically scan, and it will give you a proper idea about that, a proper recommendation set. Okay. So surely that's another one I wanted to show. So here, this is the one I was talking earlier. Security Center is separately there. So here you can see, visit Microsoft Defender for Cloud to manage security across the virtual network, data apps, more. So again, it's also same. Go into the Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Okay. So this is the basic idea of the governance. Okay. About the Azure governance, because our time constraint, we'll do another session. Please ask your question within the WhatsApp group so I can, according to your questions, I can prepare the next session and I can answer your questions. Okay, these the questions I previously some people was asking directly. So about the metrics and what is the governance, and they have asked about the recommendations mainly. Okay, basically, I believe I have covered that as well. The recommendation, once you apply VM, automatically Microsoft will give you a set of recommendations. Okay, so you don't want to need to worry about that. That is based on CSI, CIS and NIST. Okay, NIST standard. Based on that, they will give you a set of recommendation. You can apply to your resource and get your resource protected. Okay, that is basically of that. Next, they have asked, okay, how Azure help us with the control they have asked. So, of course, help us means they will give you a set of controls to protect your environment from the outside world. Because we have a lot of attacks comes these days. There are a lot of attacks comes in, so you can protect your resources from the outside. Okay, that's about it. Okay, since due to time constraint, I will wrap up the session. So if you have any question, please send us with the other WhatsApp group. So we will answer it. Next session will be like again regarding with the regards to the governance side. We have a lot to cover. Just a small session. I have done it basic level. Only answer any question because I didn't get a lot of questions. So we'll wrap up the session. Next one will welcome another engineer to the call. He's an Sentinel expert. I'll ask him with his timeline. We'll check his timeline and we'll ask him to join, and we'll answer your questions. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for joining. Have a nice day. Bye.